Where are you? Do you have a podcast? And what's going on your side?
I do. So I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and I've got a couple podcasts. One I have is called Gawker Backer. And my
Okay.
other, yeah, and that one is me kind of talking about Kickstarter campaigns that I'm gawking from afar. I go and I'll back them for like $1 just to see what's happening behind the scenes.
hmm
And then I have another podcast called Successfully Funded, and that's where I interview project creators while they're in the middle of a campaign. That's more of a long format. We do those for like an hour, hour and a half type of stuff.
Okay. Wow. And what led you down that road?
So I actually met Perry Chen a long time ago, who's the creator of Kickstarter, and
Okay.
I had this idea for how I wanted to like franchise recording studios, and met with him. This is before Kickstarter. This is like 2009-ish or so, and he told me this idea that he was building called Kickstarter, and I should check it out. And I kind of formulated this idea around what he told me of like running a Kickstarter for all these music acts, and they would come into my studios. They'd record a live EP. It'd all be videotaped. There'd be an audience. So we ended up running like 300 Kickstarters in the matter of like 4 years. And I had a studio in Detroit, Chicago, Chapel Hill.
Wow.
I was building one in Louisville. So I was like a serial Kickstarter. I would just kept running them and running them and running them. And then that kind of ended. I had some venture capital money. It ended, and I turned that into like just a crowdfunding agency. So I find money for people basically if you have a startup or an idea. So
Wow. That's an amazing thing to do, and people need the support and the help as well, right? So a lot of people got the ideas, but don't know what to do next, I think.
Right. So hence me kind of throwing out the what is success. It's a huge topic we talk about. So my clients or people I'm in, I teach this sort of stuff at Clarkson University up in Potsdam, New York. So I talk about this stuff all the time, and people are always stuck in this like, well, I should come right out of the gate and do like, $1 million campaign because my idea is so great. And I'm like, no, success is actually like if you actually raise like $20,000 and you get 100 people to actually support your idea. That's a gigantic win.
Yeah.
And people can't comprehend that sometimes.
What is it that's there was this Gary Vaynerchuk interview where he said that one is better than none.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yep. Yeah, I always tell everybody it's like you have an idea, right, that you may have tinkered with in your garage. The fact that you might get 1, 2, or 3 people to believe in your idea, actually believe in it, not your friends and family who puts up with you. I'm talking about almost a complete stranger to go, that idea is awesome. That's monumental if you can achieve that, just that little small step. So, yeah.
Yeah. So from your side, as a person in your position, what is it that you are looking for? Right. I mean, when you meet people, when you listen to people, when you talk to people, what are the keys that you're looking for?
So I think one of the biggest ones is actual drive. So a lot of people have, I think, fake entrepreneurship spirit. Where they've read about it. They really like they have this fantasy of like, I'm just going to sit at home and like just do, it's just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like I have the internet, and so they present this sort of fantasy of what they are as an entrepreneur, but the actual grunt work or the up and down that is the reality of it just literally breaks them within like 2 minutes. Or they have this idea that they're like, well, I'm just going to hire this agency and they'll do all the work because I paid them, some money. So that means I don't really have to do anything. And I'll just sit back. I paid you $5,000. Why aren't you making me $100,000?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, what? So I guess what I'm looking for is like an actual honesty inside of their mental makeup of being an entrepreneur. And that's hard. That's hard for me to find because some people fake it, and you can fake it till you make it to a lot, but crowdfunding breaks people so quickly in this idea. Like, and that's another reason why I love it too, is like, it goes back to some of my music roots of like, great, you wrote, 10 songs, but can you actually tour for a whole year and not see your family? And like, those were points that broke people.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't have it. They just wanted to sit and write a song on their guitar and, have girls love them or whatever it might be, whatever stereotype.
Yeah, they didn't.
And it's more than that,
Yeah, they didn't want to put in the work, basically, which is
exactly
which
right.
is important. Yeah, I like what you said about fake entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah,
that's a title for something going on in there. There's a book in that. You know
oh yeah,
what the fake entrepreneur thinks.
yeah, oh yeah. It's a huge mindset because it, and I see it because it's in so when a client comes to me, I'm dealing with their dreams, right? So like they have like put everything they have into some coffee pot thing or whatever the widget is, right? Like, oh, this widget's gonna like, it's gonna change the world. My kids will be able to go to college. I'll get the big mansion. Like that's how people come to me a lot of times. And I literally have to start breaking that down, that mental, like the psychology, like, okay, this is not reality. Let's break it down, and then you start finding all their strengths and weaknesses inside of that. Like, I find I cannot write a blog. I am the worst writer in the world. And I have to like coach them up to be like, can you just write 10 things that make a coffee pot great? Like, I don't, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's, so, and then you start seeing the mental makeup of how in their heads they are of like, everything has to be the perfect Facebook post, the perfect photo, the perfect video. And I'm always like, we live in a world, like what we're doing right now is not perfect. I don't even know who you are. We just got we're on Anchor and we're talking.
Yeah.
If you had an idea that this had to be perfect, we wouldn't be doing this, right? We don't know where it would go.
Absolutely.
So I'm always like, just be loose, light, have fun, be open and honest. Because again, in crowdfunding, that's what people want to see. So they want to see like you're struggling or you put out a post that was kind of stupid. They actually like that stuff. It makes you a human being. So for people, that's a huge mental makeup too. That it's just a big mental makeup that I have to fight through.
Yeah. I like what you said. Bringing dreams to reality is a difficult process. Getting the ideas out of people's heads is really complicated. Because imagination and reality are two different things.
Big time.
Yeah, and breaking it down. Taking those big ideas and saying, maybe reverse engineering and say, okay, that's where you want to go. But, if we reverse engineer it from, imagine you're there now, what steps did you take, to actually get there? Strengths versus weaknesses, again, really important, because we all have a strong side and a weak side, and we tend to hide the weak side. And that's usually what we need to work on. So all of those things, cool. The need perhaps to not be perfect. That's a pretty important thing as well, because as an entrepreneur myself and working in business, I've got this tendency sometimes to think, oh God, I need to get this absolutely right. And at the end of the day, it's kind of about putting yourself out there and in the right position rather than getting everything absolutely right. And sort of related to maybe, say, a football player or a soccer player in a match, right? And they make a lot of mistakes. Not every shot goes towards the goal or goes in goal, but they keep plugging away at it, and they keep working with the people around about them and trying to create that little bit of an opportunity or an opening that makes a big difference there.
Yeah, and that's a great analogy. I use. So, American football here, we talk about, it's 11 people. It's literally by yards, like 1 yard at a time, right? And at some point, you might get a touchdown and you might get a big win, but you're not looking at hours of practice, 4 drives in a row that stalled out. You just want to look at the highlight reel on ESPN and go,
look, he won. Look, they did it.
Yeah,
right?
They did it, right? Well, it's easy. They're just really well. They're just an easy. That's an easy team. It was just easy. No, it wasn't easy at all. So we love in sports analogies because you can tie so much into it to like basic thinking for entrepreneurship and what is success and again too. It's like because the world I'm in pivot. It's almost like we're in a constant pivot, which can also be its own problem. So like you might have been working on that design for. I don't know, like a year, but then you go to China and they tell you can't do it that way. You got to pivot. So if you spend a year making perfect Facebook posts around your design that you didn't, that you can't make, who cares? So
Well, here's a thought for you. Like I've been looking at business from different perspectives. And one of the perspectives I have is that right now I'm based in Slovakia, small country, Central Europe. Yeah, so there's like between 5 to 6 million people in the country, right? So it's a relatively small country, relatively small market. But the number of businesses that exist here, very, very wide ranging. Thousands of different ideas, thousands of different businesses sort of all coming together. And I'm looking at things in terms of markets, and I'm thinking, my God, if somebody can make a success out of their life within this market, within this country, everything must be possible. Because, because 3 times as many people live in New York City as live in this country, right?
Right.
And this country doesn't even have a language that communicates anything to the world. If people have English as a second language, then they can get somewhere with that. So there's all these barriers and all these problems, and yet there's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of independent people and successful alternative businesses here. And then I look at the bigger markets, and I look at the American market. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, we tell, so I have almost all my clients are global, a lot of Hong Kong. And here's another sort of like pinpoint that we find as an issue is it's really thinking about how big the world is, right? Like it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to sell this thing here, wherever you are, like right where you are. And, for crowdfunding, if you are not getting the US market, you don't exist. It just won't happen. So you've got to at least scratch the surface. So if you are I had a client the other day, or a lead that was just like, I'm just going to launch this on the West Coast of the United Kingdom. Like, what? Like, it's just, that, I could see your product being here. It was like a kid product. I was like, my kids would want your thing. Why are you not looking here? Oh, I just want to focus right here and it's just like, but we're all on the internet, man.
Yeah.
I can find anything in the world that I want right now and buy it.
Yeah, I was looking for a product last year, and the only videos I could find about anything connected with the product were like Japanese and Korean. And I'm in Slovakia, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I found a company in Britain that imported stuff from Korea. So I got in touch with them, and they imported something from Korea, and then they sent it to me in Slovakia. And it's like,
wow, yeah.
We are connected in many more ways than we realize.
Yeah. And I think that the age bracket. So I'm 38. I have a lot of my friends in my neighborhood here are around about 50, and they can't think. They just they are running into a roadblock where they cannot think that they are actually connected to you, or the fact that you and I are connected right now. They just can't think that way.
Yeah, even through the Anchor system, where yesterday I was in touch with someone in California, then somebody in Nigeria, then somebody in Pakistan.
Right.
Here's another point that's really important. I think that people forget. There's no reason why something can't work.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I agree. Any
problem that anybody's got, they must be able to find somebody somewhere with an answer to it.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with that too. Like it's almost like I have this empowered feeling, and it's not being egotistical or super smart. I'm a high school graduate. It's just that I can find answers to anything that anybody brings to me at any point. If you ask me anything, if I don't have an answer, almost immediately give me a couple days.
Yeah.
Call here, and here.
Absolutely, and it's the old 6 degrees of separation, or is it 7? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Yeah,
6 degrees of separation. Where if you don't know, then for sure you know somebody who knows somebody who knows. And now that we're all interconnected, it's sometimes I say to people like, why are you asking me?
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. So, hey, Graham, it looks like I just got a notice. It looks like we have to wrap up. 15 minutes is our time. Huh?
Yeah. It's been great connecting with you. And what are your podcasts again? Give out your podcasts again.
Yeah, it's so Gawker Backer is one. And then Successfully Funded, and they're all on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can go to woodshed.agency if you want to learn more about what my company does and see some of our success stories.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think it's really important that people understand that they shouldn't limit themselves in the modern environment and world that we have right now. I mean,
Of course.
we live in an age of great technology and